So Daniel, question: uh, Have you ever tried in court? I believe there's been a mistake because I believe that's been brought up quite a bit in the past. I was just curious if you had any personal experience with it.
Oh, look, I may have tried that out, I think once, many, many years ago, and I learned first up, this is a fucking nightmare.
I
I
figured.
did that about 20 years ago. I think I asked it once, and then I realised the beauty of what I do is I try it out, and I look at I look at what the judge says, and
Good.
I don't keep repeating it and repeating it and
Right.
repeating it. I don't want to. I look for. I don't. You know, it's insanity that keeps going in that line. So I'm looking at refining my what's going on before me, and refining it each time I've gone back to, say, the court, and then the outcomes were always different and better, in a sense where yes, they might be screaming at me, but down here I know when they scream at me, I'm closer to the sun.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't actually get scared of being screamed at, because I kind of think screaming is a normal thing. I think people, when they scream at me, I think they're being affectionate to me. That's how I see love.
I hear you, brother. I hear you.
I'm being a bit silly, but
Yeah,
it does tickle me a little bit, if you know what I mean.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's either have fun with it or be in fear of it, and having fun.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you don't have if you're not fearful of it, then they know that, hey, this guy's just not going to take the offer, and they know it's a big problem in the system when he's not taking it. It becomes, yeah, a bit of a problem to them. But it's not really a problem at all, because they just deal with the offer, and they sort it out. The judge always sorts everything out. So, you just stay the fuck out of it and don't meddle, and you'll be all right.
But like you said, that one prosecutor said to the judge, "Judge, I don't think he's going to take it," or "Judge, he's not going to take it," or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And it's probably the
Hilarious,
best report card you can, receive.
right?
The program, fuck. It's just not. He didn't download the program. Something went astray. Something didn't work. Your Honour. This guy
Right,
didn't insert it up his ass and fucking believe it. Bit of a problem for us now.
right. There's no agreement. What do we do?
Yeah. What do we do? Oh, well, looks like we're going to have to just sort it out. Okay. That's what the judge is there for. You don't meddle in concerning yourself that any of that has anything to do with you. So yeah, it's
I gave a judge. This is years and years ago. I was trying different things, and I put some papers, into the case or whatever I thought I was doing at the time, and the judge had him in his hand, and he picked him up, and he tosses them to the side, and he's like, "I'm not gonna read this." And I was like, "What's the purpose?" You know what I mean? But when you said what you said earlier, it just resonated even louder to that effect, because you said the judge will never read or interpret. He'll say it indicates, or he actually did read one sentence. He like skimmed it in front of me, like in court, and he read one sentence, because I said, "What is a person?" was one of the things on there, and he's like, "What is a person?" He's like, "Everybody knows what a person is," and the whole court laughed. And then he just tosses the papers to the side, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to read this."
yeah. It is a bit of it's a bit like a circus too, especially if there's a lot of belief going on. The judge has got to keep the belief going on, especially with rights and the right to drive, the privileges and all that rubbish. Uh, they're going to keep this belief very strong, because the people, they believe it. And what the people believe, the judge has to, well, that's their role to see right. If everyone believes it, they'll even call in your peers, to come and judge you. It's like, what peers? You haven't met these peers, and they call it your peers because they're your claimants. Everyone out there, they're all bloody, in possession of the father's property. So they're going to judge you as you judge everyone else. They're going to
Yeah,
judge you now. You know, so they start speaking like you're everyone else on the planet is speaking for you. And if it's true, if you find that song, "If It Be Your Will" with Leonard Cohen, he goes, "If it be your will," and then you're already spoken for, and he sings the most beautiful song. He says, "You don't need to. You're already, am I spoken for? The Father, you're spoken for. There's nothing for you to explain or complain about." It's amazing. Like it's mind blowing.
Mind blowing, brother. Look, what you said they got to try to sell it to all the believers. That same case all those years ago, uh, there was some people that started laughing in the court whenever I asked a couple questions, and there was laughter erupting from the people behind me. And he immediately, order in the court, order, order. But then just a few sentences later, he said something and they laughed at him, and he just let it go and go. He smiled and just bathed in it. I was like, man, they really are selling this really good, you know?
Yeah. I remember, mate, I'm not joking. Like, oh gosh, when I first started this journey, oh my goodness me, it was over something, whatever, a speeding ticket or something.
Yeah.
Oh, when I went in the court, it was like a full courthouse.
Yeah.
And it felt like that I was I came in, with a horse and a buggy, and I was in a cage, and everyone in the court was throwing like food and booing me and everything. And it was like an absolute arena where I was holding up the whole court and everyone was booing me, and the judge was loving it. The judge was like, "This is great," because it was like trying to make an example of me, because I was fucking like, you got no idea. And that whole, it was just like an arena. And I couldn't believe the judge actually allowed this. It was incredible. It was incredible. And yet I was like the worst type of, like I was probably the worst criminal that could ever walk this planet, because, I didn't believe everything else that every other fucking moron wanted to believe or whatever. And I was like, I was scorned and looked upon like, this guy's an alien. Where the fuck's he come from?
You're right, brother. If I told you that one of my first really big experiences in there felt almost identical, brother, would you believe me? I mean, it felt like a whole show, bro. Look, I'll just say, the judge said in the beginning, as soon as I started asking a couple questions, the judge said out loud, "You're wasting the court's time, and you're wasting all these good people's here's time." He said, "And they're all going to be really upset with you." He said, we can do this the long way. We can have this trial right here and waste all these people's time. And it was like he was just like making me the bad guy, and I could hear people sighing and almost like quietly booing me. You know what I'm saying? Like just go along to get along. Shut up. You know what I mean?
In other words, just take the deal. That's what he's telling you. But in other words, he's telling you, be like everyone else, and we can process this. We can we can make a deal with you, and out you go like everyone else. Stop holding the court up. That's how they talk down here as well. There's no real difference. If I went to court where you are, or you went to court where I'm down here, they would still in some way do that.
He told me at the end of the trial to, like I told you, to forget everything I know. But he told me also, he was like, just go with it. Basically, he was just telling me just go with it.
That's right. He plays both sides of the fence. He'll play the little devil, and he'll play also the little angel. When I've seen it both. I've seen them, and but that's why you got to keep the questions on point and stick with it. And in the end, the outcome's always a lot better. The least you say, the better.
Yeah, it was a great experience. It was a great experience, though, brother. Because check this: by the end of before the trial was over, there was people laughing for me and like rooting for me. And like you could hear the whole momentum shifted, and I'm unsure if he really expected or anticipated that or cared. But it was wild, because like some of the things he said, people would be laughing, and some of the questions I would ask, people would be like, "Oh, they started rumbling and asking like, oh, well, what is that? Why are we here for that? It was almost like a show, brother. It was amazing, And afterwards, someone approached my brother because they saw who I was sitting with, and it was a dark skinned fella, and he was like, "Man," he said, "I wish my people had more of a sense to question things like this." And I just thought that was like, wow. At the time, I thought, I was doing the right thing just by trying to be a thorn in the side, or just by trying to question. It just felt wrong and weak to you know, just pay
Yeah,
the
just
fine. You know?
yeah, and that's the thing. Sometimes I would ask the most crazy questions years ago, and after I came out of the court, I was like a smoking gun. I was all like, the hair was like up, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was like, came out smoking. It looked quite
Yeah,
it can be quite. It's an arena that's full on. You
it
don't
is.
go there and you know you don't go there for a cappuccino and sit down and have a chat with some friends. You go on there, it's a spectacle.
It is, brother.
It's a
Brother.
full on fucking spectacle, and
That's
it's
right.
all on fucking everything, mate. It's game on. And you got the stage, and I've had some people go, "What the fuck? I've never heard anything in my lifetime." Someone speak like that, and you know, and it may get some others to think about. Wow, you know, maybe if you start asking questions, there might be different outcomes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, check this out too, brother. As soon as I started asking questions, the judge kind of paused the issue, and all of a sudden, all these other lawyers filed into the room and filled the seats, and the entire section was all of a sudden full, and it had never been full,
Yeah.
previously for the whole day. And then like 7, 8 cops came in and all stood around me, and it was pageantry, man. It was just, it was a beautiful,
Yep.
show.
There you go.
It was
That's
awesome.
and you know what the most beautiful thing is?
What's
And
that?
I'll find this. Everyone goes to the court. That means there's the people, the coppers, the prosecution, everyone's there. And they're all so well behaved. Yeah?
They are.
When they're out there in the world, I've
That's
seen
right.
coppers, mate. I'm not joking. I've seen coppers basically with their tail between their legs because of because of what they shouldn't have they behaved maybe improperly or whatever. But it's not. I don't look. Maybe I'm just a bit bizarre and a bit strange. I don't know if I take things personally. I just see everyone as we're all trying to maybe make sense of why we're here. Who really knows why? Maybe to get along, maybe to find a way to get along. That's probably what I think that's really all we're here for, is to work things out together in a sense where we get over people what they think they believe, and come back to the basics. How may I help, and what we can do for one another. Blah blah blah. But the question, there's no doubt in the mind that the question is always like the thorn on the shoulders. It's like the little Riddler on the shoulder of the Batman in the movie.
Yeah, yeah. In the
I love it. Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of amazing examples, but and that's really, if we can just, I don't know, maybe focus on, if we're having if there is a struggle with a brother in the communication, just know one thing: any struggle, it always comes back to the struggle is there hasn't been an understanding between one another. We're assuming that I'm assuming something about the other for me to go into some kind of an argument with you. If I'm arguing with you, or if I'm telling you something, I'm already making assumptions that you and I have already. There's been a meeting of the minds. A meeting of the minds in a brother and sister sense is another word for agreement. We're in agreement. Yeah, there's an understanding there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by meeting of the minds.
I got you.
There's an understanding. That's why you can't have a meeting of the minds with an agent, because they just appear out of the sky,
Yeah.
and they're suddenly there, and they're giving you an order. Well, hang on a moment. There's no proper notice. There's no proper introduction, and you don't know who these people are, and you want to go on. You want to do commerce with someone you've never spoken. Logically, you've never spoken with these people before.
No, brother, go ahead and do commerce, because let's assume they're brothers and sisters, and just speak openly, and use love.
Yeah. And bend over, and don't get upset if it's bigger than you thought. Yeah.
Tell us how it works. Pat. Tell us how it works.
And there's no Vaseline, no nothing. You're just coming home. Anyway, it's just the visuals are, I think, necessary to sort of get the message through.
Could it be?
Oh man.